everyone. We are here with Tim Johnston with the Better Business Bureau. Tim, tell us everything that you do here.
Well, the Better Business Bureau has been around for more than 100 years. We're a nonprofit, standards-based organization, and our mission is to advance trust in the marketplace. And a lot of what I do is out in the community with business and consumer education.
Awesome. So I met you at the WIN breakfast, and fraud was the big issue then. So what's going on with the community? That's one thing I wanted you to come and talk about for everyone to be aware of fraud, internet fraud. Tell us what we should be aware of.
So the Better Business Bureau has a scam tracker. It's an online platform where you can report scams. What's neat about it too is you can see the scams that are being reported. So if you happen to think something's a scam, but your gut's telling you it's a scam, but your head's like, I want to believe it. Well, you can check Scam Tracker to see if others have reported, to provide you that confirmation that it's a scam. But we encourage people to report scams. That information is helpful not only to us, but we share it with the Federal Trade Commission as well on a daily basis. And it helps law enforcement then know what's going on in the communities and what do they need to pursue. For us, on an annual basis, we'll review all the reports that have come in that previous year, doing an analysis and look at what are the riskiest scams. So not so much what are the most popular scams, but what not only are the most, the volume, but we're looking at what's engaging, what's drawing people in and getting them to engage with the scammer, and also what's the money that's being lost. And so we put together a risk analysis and put out a risk report every year in March. And this past year, probably no surprise, the riskiest scam are online purchase scams, and that was for the third year in a row. Scammers go where people are, and the pandemic drove us all online, whether we wanted to or not. And we're still all online, and so that's where scammers are, to really take advantage of individuals.
Yeah. Okay, so that's very interesting. You're catching all of this information. Do people ever get caught with the scams?
They do.
Okay.
Is it at the level that you and I would like? Probably not. I mean, I'd like to see a perp block every 3 seconds, right? But without that data, it's really difficult for investigators, law enforcement at different levels to go after these scammers. And what makes it more difficult is a lot of times these scammers are not in the United States. And so that even adds an extra level or layer of difficulty, because let's just say the FBI or the FTC here needs to find somebody in Eastern Europe or in Africa. Now they need to engage representatives from those countries to work together and be cooperative. So it makes it more difficult, but it does happen. I talk about romance scams when I give my presentations on how to avoid scams, and look at the previous year. It was like 1.3 billion lost to romance scams. The average median loss, $4,400 for an individual.
What is this scam?
Romance scams. So romance scams are ones where individuals are looking for a relationship, or maybe not looking for a relationship. They get a text message, a direct message, or maybe they're on a dating app and they get contacted, relationship is started, and these scammers are typically not in the US. They're often in Western Africa, typically, for these romance scams, and develop those relationships over time. This type of scam or con is the long game. When you're developing that relationship, it doesn't happen overnight. However, one of the indications that you might be in a romance scam is somebody proclaims their love very early on in that relationship.
Okay.
And if you try to get to meet with them, there's always an excuse. Might be that, hey, I need some money to buy a plane ticket to come see you because I'm flying in from Mississippi, supposedly. And so the victim provides scammer money to buy the ticket. It's time for the trip, and next thing you know, they have to, they got a family member that's in the hospital. Hey, can you help me to pay some medical bills? So there's some more money. So the money piles up, and $4,400 was the median loss last year in a romance scam. And what I talk about in my fraud prevention type scams, or fraud prevention seminars, is that there were 3 individuals in 2019 from Nigeria and Ghana that were indicted for a romance scam.
Okay.
And a woman in Kentucky lost $750,000. So $750,000 just to one romance scam. So
that's awful. Was it gone completely?
Well, that I don't know. I mean, they were caught. More than likely it's gone. But again, it does happen, but without the data, without the intelligence, without the information, it's really difficult for law enforcement to take action. So that's where I encourage individuals, whether, if you've lost money, if you find yourself having been a victim of a scam and you've lost some money, as soon as you notice that, reach out to local law enforcement. They might be able to help. It's really tough. Like I said, a lot of these scams are happening outside of Nevada, outside the country. But if they get an instant notification, they might be able to do something. But after about 24 hours, I've seen the charts. The ability to get that money back goes from here down to here. Scams impact all age groups, not just the older generation. So we find that the younger generation are being scammed more. They're not losing as much money, but they are being scammed more. And why? Because they're probably being taken online, because they're online 24/7. So all age groups, all education levels, and all income levels are being scammed. And sometimes it's just a matter of hitting you at the right time. If you happen to have lost a loved one and now you're at that point where you're ready to start another relationship, that's where a romance scam can come into play. If you are hurting financially and you decide to look for a new job, employment scams are the second riskiest scam. So
what is it?
Employment scams.
Oh yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And so if you're looking for a new job and somebody contacts you out of the blue and says, "Hey Tim, I think you'd be a great asset to our team. We'd like to hire you. Are you working remotely right now?" And I'd say no. Well, we'd like to give you the opportunity to work remotely. And if I'm thinking, I already have an hour commute, so that'd be great. That's less time in a car. And so they draw you in. They get your personal information for identity theft. And oftentimes they're using checks, sending them out to the new employee. And we want you to use this money. We want you to call Marika. And they don't know that you and I are in on the con. And she's going to help you get your office set up. She's going to supply you a laptop and printer. And next thing you know, 3-4 weeks later, the bank comes to you and says, that check that you deposited, it's counterfeit. And so any money that you spent off of that, you now owe the bank.
Tricky.
And any fees, if you didn't have much money in there and now you've gone into the negative, you're talking about overdraft fees, insufficient funds. And if you are somebody that is unemployed, that financial downward spiral can really be difficult to come back out of. So it's really important for individuals to be aware of what's going on out there. And even if you're not thinking about a new job, but all of a sudden somebody contacts you out of the blue, says we have a job offer, you need to do your due diligence. So when I talked about online purchase scams, how do you protect yourself? Really, I think the biggest tip here is know who you're buying from. Whether you're going to a brick and mortar to get your car repaired, or you're going online to buy a pair of boots or some new clothes, you need to know who you're buying from. If you're buying from a company that you're familiar with and you've had good success, great. But if this is new to you, you need to check them out. If you're buying off of social media, that's really risky because you're clicking an ad. If you're online actually shopping, you're at somebody's website, right? You're hopefully familiar with and you've done business with them. But if you're on social media and you see an ad, you don't know where that ad's typically coming from. And that's where people are being taken. They're thinking, that's a great deal. That's less than I was going to spend at a normal store. And you click buy, and if I were to ask you where you bought it from, chances are you'd say, I don't know, but it's going to come in 1 week or 2 weeks. And we talk to people, we hear from people to the FBBB scam tracker where they bought, it doesn't arrive, or if it does arrive, it's not the quality they were expecting. It was, if they were expecting Gucci for a Gucci belt, it's not Gucci, it's counterfeit. And if they're trying to make a return, getting a hold of somebody is half the battle. If you do get a hold of somebody, they'll probably let you know, well, if we accept returns, you'll need to pay for return back. Okay, so what's that going to cost? Well, you need to return it back to China or the Middle East or something like that. And next thing you know, why would I spend more to send something back than what I actually paid for the item? And so we just added more to our landfills or sent off to a thrift store.
Wow. So yeah, I see those ads pop up all the time, and I've been tempted to because some of the clothing items look so great, and I've been at the point where I almost pressed go and purchased it, but I stop. And I always, I stop. I don't get that beautiful, whatever it is. And I mean, is that something, how likely are those to be scams? I mean, how do we
The
find out
risk
if
is
they're,
greater on social media.
how do we find out if they are legitimate
So
companies?
if the information's not readily available, I would walk away.
Okay.
Just to give you perspective, I mean,
Yeah.
last year we processed more than 1.2 million complaints throughout the Better Business Bureau system. So pretty significant. And we're able to help 4 out of every 5 consumers that come to us.
Wow.
We serve as a neutral third party. When I talk to people about scams, I talk about robocalls. Last year, Americans received more than 50 billion robocalls.
Oh.
Now, not all of them are scammers. I mean, we get automated calls from our doctor's office reminding us of an appointment or the pharmacy, but a lot are. And one of the tips that I provide is if you don't recognize the number, don't answer it. It's tough to do. I mean, I find myself trying to practice what I preach.
Nice.
And then inevitably
Okay.
I'll see a number and I go, oh, I'll answer it. And it's, it's an automated call about my auto extended warranty, or it's some telemarketer, typically somebody trying to raise money for some type of unknown charity. And that's something else that the Better Business Bureau does as well. We report on charities. We have a separate set of standards. So if you happen to be looking to donate to an organization, I encourage you to check them out at give.org.
Nice. Okay.
So.
Give.org.
We could probably go on for a half an hour longer.
Yes, and so you do presentations. So if someone's interested in having you come present, is that something you could do? I can put your information in the feed.
Yes, I would like that. Reach out to me,
Okay.
and happy to come and speak to your group, whether it's a service organization, church group, or just a group from the community that's getting together and wants to learn more about scams. Just yesterday, I met with an investigator from Nevada Consumer Affairs, and we went to a lunch group at one of the sites that delivers the Meals on Wheels. And there's a group of seniors that get together on a daily basis to have lunch together. Not really a group that's official. And we just happened to learn about them, and we visited, and they said, hey, could you come back and talk to us about what you're seeing that can help us as older Americans? So looking for those opportunities, and happy to discuss and cater information to help you out.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
what you do and sticking with it. You're a great wealth of knowledge, so I appreciate
Thanks.
it. You're welcome. So remember Tim Johnston with the Better Business Bureau. I'll put the information in the feed. And remember me, Marika Moore, for showing you the best parts of Northern Nevada as well as helping you with your real estate needs.